It started like any other evening. Daniel had come home earlier than usual, carrying takeout and a smile, ready to surprise Emily after a long week. They had been together for more than a year now. A year of shared mornings, inside jokes, and the kind of comfortable silence that only comes when two people know each other deeply. To everyone around them, they looked like the perfect couple. But perfection has a way of hiding cracks. When Daniel entered the apartment, the living room was quiet. Emily wasn't home yet, but her things were scattered. A jacket on the couch, books stacked haphazardly, her phone charger plugged in near the bed. He decided to tidy up while waiting. A small gesture he knew she appreciated. That's when it happened. While folding some clothes on the bed, his hand brushed against something that made him pause. At first glance, it was just lingerie. Lace, delicate, unmistakably intimate. But as he held it up, confusion washed over him. It was far too large to be Emily's. Not just a size difference, but clearly meant for someone else entirely. His heart skipped. A dozen explanations rushed into his mind, each more desperate than the last. Maybe it was a gift for a friend. Maybe she bought it by mistake. Maybe. But none of those excuses felt real. The fabric in his hand was heavy with implications he couldn't ignore. Daniel sat down, staring at the garment as if it might explain itself. A creeping unease spread through him, the kind that makes your stomach twist even when your mind begs you to stay calm. For over a year, he had trusted her completely. Could it be possible that trust was misplaced? When Emily came home later, he didn't mention it. Not yet. She smiled, kissed him on the cheek, and talked about her day, completely unaware of the storm brewing behind his steady gaze. He nodded, laughed at the right moments, and tucked the secret deep inside, determined to watch and wait. That night, while Emily slept peacefully beside him, Daniel lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Every detail of their relationship replayed in his mind. The times she avoided certain questions. The weekends she said she was busy with friends. The moments she seemed distant even while sitting right next to him. Had he been blind all along? The lingerie was only the beginning. Something was off, and he could feel it in his bones. What he didn't know yet was just how deep the truth went, and how much it would tear his world apart when he finally uncovered it. Daniel tried to push the strange discovery out of his mind, but the image of that lingerie wouldn't leave him. It haunted him at work, over dinner, even in moments when Emily laughed and touched his hand as if nothing had changed. He smiled back, but inside suspicion was spreading like wildfire. One evening, while Emily was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, Daniel never touched her phone. Trust had been the foundation of their relationship. But tonight, the buzzing felt different, almost like an invitation. His chest tightened as he reached for it. The screen lit up with a name he didn't recognize, Sophia. A small preview of the message made his blood run cold. "I can't stop thinking about last night. Your touch, your lips." His hands trembled as he opened the chat. Line after line revealed a world he never knew existed. Words drenched in intimacy. Photos, blurred but unmistakable, of another woman. Messages filled with longing, passion, and promises whispered through text. Daniel scrolled, each new message slicing deeper than the last. This wasn't some fling with a stranger. The tone was too familiar, too raw. Emily wasn't just hiding something. She was living an entirely separate life. He dropped the phone onto the bed, his chest heaving. Why? The question thundered through his head. For more than a year she had kissed him, laughed with him, planned weekends and holidays. all while exchanging words of love and desire with someone else. When Emily stepped out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her, she caught him staring at her phone, his face pale and unreadable. For a split second, panic flickered in her eyes. She quickly masked it with a smile, but Daniel had already seen enough. "Who's Sophia?" he asked, his voice low, almost calm, though inside he was burning. Emily froze. The towel slipped slightly from her shoulder, and she pulled it tighter, her eyes darting away. "She's just a friend," she said too quickly, her voice too thin. Daniel let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. "Friends don't send that. Friends don't call each other at midnight to say they miss their kisses. So tell me, Emily, what exactly am I looking at?" The silence that followed was deafening. Emily's lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. And in that silence, Daniel felt the ground beneath him crack. The truth was now undeniable. The woman he thought he knew, the woman he had loved for over a year, wasn't who she seemed. She had been hiding not just infidelity, but an entire identity. And yet one question tore at him more than the betrayal itself. If she loved Sophia, if she wanted Sophia, then why had she stayed with him? Why play this game for so long? Daniel didn't know it yet, but the answer would shake him harder than anything he had uncovered so far. The apartment felt like a battlefield. Daniel sat on the edge of the couch, Emily's phone still on the coffee table between them, its dark screen reflecting the tension in the room. Emily paced back and forth, her arms folded tightly, as though bracing herself against an attack. "You've been lying to me," Daniel said finally, his voice calm but cold, each word sharp enough to cut. "Not just once, not just some stupid mistake, for months, maybe the entire year." Emily stopped pacing. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to deny it, but the weight of the truth was too heavy. "Daniel, no more excuses," he snapped, his fist slamming against the table, making the phone jump. "I read the messages. I saw the photos. You're not just cheating on me, Emily. You're not even the person I thought I knew." Tears welled in her eyes, but Daniel felt no sympathy. Not now. She had kissed him that morning, told him she loved him, while another woman's words burned hot in her inbox. Finally, Emily sank onto the chair across from him, her face pale. "You're right," she whispered. "I've been lying. I never meant for it to go this far, but I couldn't stop. I'm not who you think I am." Daniel leaned forward, his voice low and bitter. "Then tell me, who are you?" Her hands shook as she twisted them in her lap. "I'm not in love with you, Daniel. I never was. I told myself I could be, that maybe if I tried hard enough it would work. But I was lying, to you and to myself. I'm not attracted to men. I'm a lesbian." The words hit him like a punch to the chest. He stared at her, struggling to process what he had just heard. His girlfriend of more than a year, the woman he had imagined a future with, had been living a double life the entire time. "You used me," he whispered, disbelief mingling with fury. "All this time, you used me as some kind of cover, didn't you?" Emily shook her head desperately, tears spilling down her cheeks. "It wasn't like that. I cared about you. I still care. But I was scared, Daniel. Scared of what people would think, scared of my family, scared of myself." Daniel stood, pacing now, his hands gripping his hair. "So what was I then? Your safety net? Your shield against questions you didn't want to answer?" Emily flinched but didn't deny it. "I wanted to be normal," she whispered. "I thought if I stayed with you, maybe people wouldn't look too closely. Maybe I could buy time to figure myself out. And then I met her, and everything changed. Daniel stopped pacing and turned on her, his face twisted with pain. Her? Sophia? Emily nodded, silent tears streaming. The silence between them was deafening. For Daniel, every memory of the last year now felt poisoned. Every kiss, every laugh, every promise, all of it a mask covering a truth he had never seen. And yet, beneath the betrayal, one question screamed louder than all the others. If she loved someone else all along, why did she hold on to him? Why keep the lie alive for so long? The answer, when it came, would tear the last remnants of his world apart. Daniel's chest rose and fell as though he had run miles, though he hadn't moved. The apartment felt suffocating, walls closing in, every corner echoing with lies he had only just begun to untangle. Emily sat across from him, pale, shaking, her hands gripping the armrest as though she were holding on for dear life. "You don't get it," Daniel said finally, his voice cracking. "You say you cared, but you stole more than a year of my life. You let me believe in a future that never existed. And for what? To hide? To pretend?" Emily's tears fell harder, her shoulders trembling. She opened her mouth, shut it again, then whispered, "You're right. I owe you the truth, all of it." Daniel clenched his jaw. "Then say it. Why me? Out of everyone. Why did you stay with me if you were never mine?" Silence. Only the ticking of the clock filled the space, each second stretching like an eternity. Finally, Emily lifted her eyes, and in them Daniel saw something beyond guilt. Fear, sorrow, but also a fragile honesty she had never shown before. "I wasn't with you because I loved you," she said softly. "I was with you because of her." Daniel frowned, confusion flickering through his anger. "Her? You mean Sophia?" Emily shook her head slowly. Her lips trembled as she whispered the words that shattered him completely. "No, Daniel, not Sophia. Your sister." The room went still. For a moment Daniel thought he hadn't heard correctly. His mind scrambled, replaying her words, twisting them into something less cruel. But they remained the same, raw and undeniable. "My sister?" he repeated, his voice breaking. You loved her?" Emily nodded, sobbing now. "From the beginning. Before you. Before us. She was the first person who ever made me feel alive. But she pushed me away, said it was impossible, that it could never work. And then you came along. Kind, safe, willing to give me everything. Being with you, it kept me close to her, even if she pretended she wanted nothing to do with me." Daniel staggered back, clutching the wall for support. The betrayal burned deeper than anything he could have imagined. His girlfriend, the woman he thought he might marry, had been in love with his own sister the entire time. Their entire relationship was nothing but a cruel shadow of a truth he never saw. "You used me," he whispered hoarsely. Not just as a cover, but as a bridge to her. Emily sobbed, nodding, unable to defend herself. Daniel's hands shook violently. Rage, heartbreak, disbelief. It all collided inside him until he felt hollow. Every smile she'd given him, every kiss, every whispered "I love you now" replayed in his mind as lies, each one tethered not to him, but to someone else, to someone he trusted more than anyone. The silence stretched, broken only by Emily's broken breaths. Finally, Daniel forced himself to speak, his voice low, cold, final. "You didn't just break my heart. You destroyed everything. My trust, my family, my past. You didn't just lie to me. You stole who I thought I was." Emily reached out, desperate, but Daniel recoiled. There was nothing left to say, nothing left to salvage. As he walked out the door, the weight of betrayal pressed down on him like chains. He didn't know if he would ever heal, or if the scars of this truth would haunt him forever. But one thing was certain. Emily had left him with a wound that no time could erase. And behind it all, the unanswered question still lingered in the silence of his shattered world. Had his sister known?